Oh, hey, welcome to OnSet. That might have been loud. I'm Daniel Norton. It is the 31st day of March, 2022. I'm going to try to say that every time now. I'm not sure I'll be able to pull it off. So remind me next time, guys. Welcome. We are going to make some portraits today. Some really simple but powerful portraits. Using one light. So a lot of times when we get into shooting, we immediately start seeing lots of shots that we really love, and they've got lots of things going on and they're complex, and maybe that's a little intimidating for people. So every once in a while I like to do a demo where we just use one light and I show you that you really can make really good portraits. We're going to play around with the positioning of the light and the modifier on the light to create different shadow patterns and different amounts of shadow, playing with what is effectively the hardness and softness of the light, which we'll talk about a little bit. Marissa's in bright red.
That's burnt orange.
She is in burnt orange. I think I would call it bright red. What do you think? That's like a bright red?
I would say red.
It's like a fire red. Yeah. All right. Anyways, it's red.
But that's because I'm loyal.
Yes. Yeah. This is what we want. You stick around, kid. This is Marissa, and we're going to make some pictures. If you don't know, by the way, did you know this, Marissa? I recently started a podcast for Adorama.
I did know, and I'm a fan.
So you can find it on most podcast services. A Voice with Daniel Norton is how you can search for it, or Seth is going to put in the chat a link to the main page with Anchor. What makes this podcast kind of unique, besides Marissa?
Well, I'm not on
She's
it,
not on it
but
yet.
I'm going to call in.
Yeah, she's going to call in. Is you can call in. So if you have something to say about what I'm saying, or you have questions, not about like how to set your camera, but like about philosophy of photography in general, give me a call, because it's going to be very interactive. So that's the end of the commercial, and hope you get your 5 cents worth there. Let's do this. So I will try to go over all the things I'm using as I progress through this. If you have a question about the piece of equipment or whatever, because I will almost certainly stop doing that about a minute into this, as always, go ahead and ask. Again, I'm going to use a flash today, one single flash. I'm going to use the Profoto B1X. A lot of times people ask me why I choose whichever one I'm choosing. The B1X is my 500 watt flash, which is the more powerful of my flash setups. If I'm only going to use one light, I generally want it to be as powerful as possible, just because why not have the power? If I'm traveling or I'm using a lot of smaller lights, then I'm fine with using 250s or even 100s or speed lights and all kinds of stuff. But if you're only gonna have one light, you wanna have a little bit of power. This will give us a lot of versatility if we wanna shoot in bright spaces, which we're not in now, or use big modifiers, which we're using a decent sized one. That's why we're gonna want more power. This is the B1X from Profoto. And then we'll get a softbox on it right now, a 3-foot octa. We're gonna start there. Okay, so number one. This is my Nikon. There are many like it. In fact, Marissa has one, but this one is mine. This one, it's a Z6 II. I'm going to, how come I can't make it do the thing? Oh no, it is doing the thing. It's doing the thing. Okay, so we're starting off well. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do when we're working with flash is or any kind of lighting really, we want to control our space. Now there's light in here, some LED lights hanging from the ceiling. You can clearly see me, and I can see Marissa. But if I shoot with this light, it's going to be flat. I'm going to have a long shutter speed or a very wide open aperture or a high ISO, which is going to create an image that's not exactly what I want. I want control, right? So what I want to actually do is set my camera so that none of the light in the space affects my shot, effectively removing the light. The way we're going to do that is I'm going to set it at the maximum shutter speed, that the normal sync speed for flash. Yes, there is something called high-speed sync, but not everybody has that, so we're just going to ignore that for now. So that's 200th of a second on this camera. I'm going to set my ISO at the lowest ISO within the normal range. This way I get the best quality of pixels. Then I'm going to set my aperture, and that is the one that's going to vary depending on where I am. If I'm in a pretty dark space, I might be able to shoot more open. If I'm in a very bright space, I might have to close down more. Because I'm kind of in a medium space, I'm set at 5.6, which is where I generally like to be for portraits. And what I'm gonna do is two things. I'm gonna press this little button on the front of my camera, which is gonna allow me to see the actual exposure, even though I'm on a mirrorless. And it looks, you can't see it, but you can, actually, I can do it over here. Watch. I'm gonna do it over here in Capture One, so you guys can see. Because we have the magic of, there we go, there's Marissa. Yep. So that's the camera going, hey Daniel, you need to be able to see what's going on. So boom. When I press this button in the front, that showed me how to do. It's in a Z9 video, check that It's basically showing me the real exposure. And we can see it's absolutely dark, right? If Marissa moves around a little bit, we can't see her, right? If you want to be extra, extra sure, which I do, I'm going to turn the flash off, and I'm just going to make an exposure. This exposure, I'm in capture 1 here. We can see it here. It's absolutely dark. I can come over to my exposure slider, and I can grab it, and I'm going to drag it over. We want it to be a couple stops under generally, just to be safe. Yeah, there she is. She's just starting to show up here, almost 3 stops under. So what that means is that I have room. So if in post I have to make some adjustments and pull my shadows up or anything, I'm not going to start pulling this ugly light unless I pull them up 3 stops. And if I pull them up 3 stops, I definitely did something wrong. So we're not going to have that situation at all. Okay, so with all that being said, here I am. The flash is back on. Actually, the physical flash wasn't on, so I could have just done that. And we can see that we have a black frame. We're good to go. So let's start with would be kind of your basic portrait that you want to think about when you're photographing just about anyone, a safe portrait. Now, because we're only going to use one light, we have to consider the distance of our subject to the background, even more so than you'd have to if you had multiple lights, right? Because our single light is going to either have to light our entire scene or not light our entire scene as we want. So I'm going to move Marissa back to maybe, that's good right there, about 3 foot from the background, maybe a little more centered. Okay. I'm going to take my light and I'm going to consider that if I move my light really close to her, which is what we oftentimes want to do, what I'm going to end up with is a darker background. And the reason for that is because the light falls off as it gets close, as it goes further away, inverse square and all that goodness. If I move my light a little bit further from Marissa, the light on the background will be a little bit brighter because I know this is where it seems a little bit weird. It's going to be brighter proportionately because this proportion is different. Okay? That's the inverse square law. I've done math. And I've done all kinds of math here in my head. You guys can see it. So
there's a question.
Yep.
What's your distance between the model and the camera, or does it not matter?
Okay. The distance between the model and the camera is going to affect what is often referred to as compression. People are posting that's not compression, but basically the way the person feels. If I get real close to her, her features are going to be a little more narrow, her nose is going to pull forward, her ears are going to go back. So if somebody has like a wider face and you want to make it look thinner, you could do that, right? You get real close. If somebody has like a longer nose or a more skinny face and you want to make it more wide, you want to back up. Then you choose the appropriate lens. I like to be relatively close to my subject because I don't like to have to yell at them. So, no more than 6 feet, usually somewhere between 3 and 6 feet is where I put somebody. That's, if you look in that How to Shoot Photo book from 1976 that everybody seems to have that comments on these, you will see that that is not the right way to do it according to that, but times change, right? All right, so I'm turning my light on. This is a 3-foot octa. Let's talk about hardness and softness here because it's going to matter as we move forward. The hardness and softness of your light is based on the size of the light relative to your subject. Moving the light back and forth is going to change the size relative, right? Like the sun, so they tell me, is very big, but you can block it when you put your hand up, right? You can't block it from the whole earth, but you can block it from your eye. And that is because it is small, right? Relative to you, which is why the sunlight is the good classic example of hard light. If the clouds come by and they make the sky, the sun obscured, now you've got these giant clouds, the light source is, compared to the distance and all, is big. Thus you get shadow that is very diffuse and also soft. Since I mentioned diffuse, I'll talk about that. Diffusion has to do with your highlights. If you've got shine, you want to put diffusion. Okay, so all that being said, we're going to work with a relatively soft light here because Marissa's head is smaller than 3 feet, believe it or not. And we're going to put the light slightly to one side. We want some kind of shadowing, some modeling to show the shape of her face, because if we're going for kind of a safe shot, it's going to come over here. It's going to give her a little bit of shadow. You want the center of your light source to be above eye level on some level, for a standard portrait. Again, we're going standard. And we're just going to take a shot. Right now, we're just getting a basic exposure. So she's really small in my image, and I'm already zoomed in, so I'm going to move in closer. I am going to shoot horizontally here because that's what the kids do. I'm going to flip that forward. Like a scarf. When I used to wear like a scarf when I was, back when that was in vogue. Okay, boom. All right. I caught her off guard, but that's okay.
Flash is not cool.
You're not-
We'll try that again.
The sync's not on flash. Look. So now you're in 3A.
Okay, you got to turn the sync on in your flash. And make sure you turn the sync off before you leave your house, otherwise you'll have a flood.
No T.
Okay. We'll just take that part out in editing. Okay, so I haven't used the B1Xs in a while, so clearly I should have set them up first. All right, I'll explain that in a second once we have a good picture on the screen. Okay, so, perfect. This cable is really... All right, so what we've got here is a decent exposure with some modeling, as I mentioned. The issue that we had a second ago was the flash itself has built into it a receiver that is receiving signal from the camera through this remote. It wasn't turned on. That's why I didn't fire the first time. Then when it was really bright, it's because I had it set in manual mode as opposed to TTL, which I'm about to talk about. TTL is through the lens metering. When you are using a TTL flash, as I am here, you are using a meter. You are using the meter that is...
Through the lens.
That's right. It's in the camera, right? So I'm using the camera's meter. If you've never used lights before, you've never used flash before, but you've used your camera and used the meter inside of it, you would be able to operate this kind of flash, because just think of it the same way. If it's heavily backlit, all these other things, it will affect it. But since we're in control of our space, as noted, we got a nice clean shot. This is giving us an exposure that looks pretty good, actually. I'm pretty happy with this. And what we can do is, one thing you can do, because people ask me this a lot, you've got to know your subject. But I know that Marissa's skin tone should be somewhere over kind of on the right-hand side-ish of the histogram. So when I bring my... the neutral part of her skin anyways. When I bring my hand over here, you can see where on the histogram over there, you can see it's moving right by that blue line. See how I'm moving back and forth? That's her skin tone. That's about right for me. So that is absolutely not useful to you unless you have a person that you know their skin, you have a general idea of where their skin tone should be. Histograms are not the best, in my opinion, are not the best use of making exposure. You gotta get a good metering and then just make sure your screen's calibrated or have a screen that doesn't need it, and just go with what you feel like looks right. I look at Marissa, I look at the picture, it's right. Okay, so this looks good. It's a little on the hot side, but I like it to be a little hot. And we can see now with the shape of the light, it's nice and clean. We can see there's no real shadow on the background, although there is. This is a shadow over here. And that's because, of course, wherever there's not a light, there's a shadow. But it's basically even. This is a portrait. This isn't like a corporate clean headshot where you got to cut it out. So a little bit of modeling on the background is fine. She's got some shape to her face. It's not even, you know, because we've got this nice shadow over here. But if you wanted to fill that in, if you were working with somebody and they were like, oh, I would like to have the side of my face filled in. Even if you only have one light, because I never said no reflectors, right? That's always, you always cheat, by the way. This is how we cheat in this demo every single time. This is a reflector. These are made in Brooklyn by Seth. You can get them on our website, brooklynreflector.com. No, seriously, this is a piece of foam core board. When I'm in the studio, like there's awesome pop-up reflectors, right? You've probably seen them, possibly. They go, boom, they pop up. Or the great Manfrotto, used to be Last Light, right? Halo, awesome reflectors. But when I'm in the studio, I generally just use a simple piece of foam board. It works really well, and they're very inexpensive. So we're just gonna bring this over opposite where the thing is. Marissa's gonna be all like, hey, I'm Marissa, boom. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna bounce some light into the shadow and clean it up a little bit, right? Now we got a nice clean shot. Is that something on my screen? Yeah, okay. We've got a nice clean shot of Marissa. She's looking good. It's a little bright, like I said, but I like it that way. If you didn't like it like that way, you could make an change to the exposure pretty simply. You would not change the exposure on the camera because I'm in TTL. If I change the exposure on my camera, it will just look the same, right? The light will adjust. But what I can do is switch to manual and just dial the light down a smidge. Let's say 3/10. We'll take one more. Oh, use the reflector so it's equal, so it looks the same. Good, boom, all right. Easy, right? Now this is a little bit flatter. If you're unsure, this is safer, right? Because I can always go and capture one over here and add a little bit more contrast in my, in post. I can go like that and bring it up. And then I actually get a little bit more of a contrasty look like this. This is raw, right? Nothing is set in stone. We can do what we want. Capture One will repeat all the things you do, so I'm just gonna reset that so I don't get that again. And we'll see that that's a very simple one light shot. The background is not exactly the right color, but it's gray, right? So that's a shot against a gray background. If we weren't shooting it for the Pantone people, or for Savage in this case, it's fine, right? If you wanted the background to be darker or more moody, we can do that, right? Maybe Marissa's like, no, this is for my punk rock band. Can't you tell by the outfit I'm wearing?
Yeah.
Right. So you can do a couple of different things, right? If we can either take up, well, we can do many things. We can either move her closer to the light source, move the light source closer to her. No, you can say where you are though. I can feather the light, and we're gonna do several of these things. So I'm gonna take the light and I'm gonna spin it away from her.
What lens are you using?
I'm using the 24 to 70 f4 Nikon Z lens that came with the camera. I like a nice mid-range zoom in a Chianti.
Fava beans?
It's some fava beans, right? All right. So I find that for demos, this is a great lens. A lot of times people do ask me that, and it's a fair question. If I'm doing a headshot, I would probably use a slightly longer lens because I usually like an 85, although I love that 105.
The 105 bang.
I own and I like an 85 for headshots, so I like to, just be a little bit further back, have a little bit more of that compression, generally speaking, but a zoom lens gives you more versatility. All right, so I'm gonna come over here now. We're closer. The light's gonna skim past her. I'm gonna switch back to TTL again so that I don't have the same problem I had earlier. And now the background's gonna be darker, right? You'll notice that the light fall off is more dramatic, so it's a little bit like brighter on one side of her face and darker on the other compared to before. Now we've got that drama. If I wanted to fill in a little bit, I can still use this reflector. Very expensive reflector. Boom. And then we fill in, right? Nice and simple, one light. This is good if you just bought the wrong color background, but flat light in the front on a dark background is not my preference. I probably would go with more shadow. That's personally me. You can do it any way you want. I won't come to your studio and bother you. Well, I might. You never know. Okay, questions, thoughts, concerns? Now, we can also, this is a big, soft, safe light. We can also go with a softbox that's not so soft. What? Oh, questions?
Light on vertical pose, is a rectangle softbox more desirable?
Oh, is a rectangle, if it what?
If you're feathering the light vertical for a vertical portrait, is a rectangular box more desirable?
Okay, good idea. Right. So if you're feathering the light for a vertical portrait, so I'm shooting horizontal because it's just, honestly, for the live streams, it's just easier. But if I was shooting vertical, and would it be better for me to have a vertical softbox for feathering? A vertical softbox does sometimes give you a little bit more control of the edges because it's vertical, but I tend to go with the Octagon as my go-to light for portraits because you get lots of extra light over here to bounce back, so if you want to do that. But sure, versus turning the softbox horizontal, yeah, I would turn it vertical. So is it better? No. Will it work? Absolutely. In fact, I'm about to switch to a more rectangular shaped softbox, but it's not going to be so big. All right, so Marissa's going to change. Oh, she's getting water. I thought you were actually going to change. That would have been pretty cool.
I can
No,
tell
you are not
light.
fast enough. Yes, you can. This is a softbox. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Daniel, didn't you just say hard and soft is based on size relative to the subject? That's not very big. Why is it called a softbox? I'm going to be honest. I didn't name it. Okay. Marissa's going to finish her water. This is a Shimera extra small. Daniel Norton Series 3. No, this is probably my favorite softbox. It is roughly the size of most people's heads or bigger. Which means that if we want to keep it soft, we're going to have to keep it close. And when we keep it close, it's going to have fast fall off, so we're going to have shadow pattern, and we're going to have a lot of control, right? So by having this light source like this, we're going to really be able to keep the light where we want it. So I'm going to bring it back up again. We're bringing it in nice and close, measuring Marissa's head. We're going to feather it forward just to show you a little bit of a difference in how the light's going to fall off. Now, of course, the good thing about this on some level too is it's going to use less power. So if you are using a small light, like a speed light or something, that's also good. So we take a shot, I'm still in TTL. Now we get that light that drops off quickly, right? Smaller light source wrapping around. Oh, look at that. It's almost like a little bit of a triangle. Not quite there. But we can see the difference, right? Now you might say, which one is better? But you know, I don't like the word better. Oh, sorry about that. I don't like to use the word better. This is a little bit hot, I'll say. Let me just quickly adjust the exposure. I'm gonna bring this down a smidge. I'm just gonna, don't use, by the way, in processing, you probably shouldn't use the exposure slider as your first go-to, but just for the simplicity of this, I'm doing that. We can see how this drops off, right? This is because the bigger light is softer, it's wrapping around more, it's filling in that shadow more. Soft light has a more gradual transition. This is cool if we want to do something a little bit more dramatic, right? Or if we really want to drop off, or let's say we're doing like a tough, like a really masculine subject. Let's say that I was the subject. I need a new profile picture.
Oh, gotta lift this.
I can go. I'm doing my good pose. Should this way?
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh, I'm really turned far. Yeah, okay.
Ooh.
Right. This is like a little bit more of a drop off, a little bit more of a punchy light for somebody who's really edgy. You know, because I'm edgy. I'm an edgy guy. But you see with TTL, it switches up, it works, it's kind of nice. And you can still use, of course, a little fill light, a little fill card if you want to come in here and be like, oh, got it with your eyes closed. I was just realizing the top of your head was in the shot. So here we have that same shadow pattern, right? But the light's filled in. This is not a softer light. This is a harder light than the first one, but it's filled in with the reflector. So you got a difference there. I don't know why this cord is like so in my way today. I've been doing something different. I don't know what it is. Okay, this is probably not the position I'd put this light in though, because I'm not a huge triangle eye light person fan. What? I like, especially on female subjects, I like what's often called butterfly lighting. And I say it's often called that because that's often what I call it, which means that you're going to put the light in the center of the frame and make kind of even light coming overhead. I happen to have a C-stand, which is great for this. I'm going to put a sandbag on it for insurance purposes. Now, when you come to the rental studio, the sandbags are $5 a piece. But when you pick this up, you have to look at the client and go, it's going to be $25, but I need it. See, I didn't even tell you it was going to be a business class. All right. All right. Versus like, hold on, I thought those were $25.
Yeah, wait, I just paid $25 for this.
Yes, you did. And it was well worth it. By the way, no matter how many times I do this, I always choose the C-stand that has the old knuckle that's going to like totally fall on me.
Well,
Yeah,
fall on me.
Right, well, yes. Well,
Not so soft box.
not so softbox. If you're going to drop a light on a subject, the softbox is definitely the one to do because, you know, it's soft. Okay, so we're going to bring this in front. And because Marissa's not 4 feet tall, I'm going to bring it up like this, come forward a little bit, right there. Okay. We're going to more or less put it centered on her face. That seems totally safe.
Yeah.
It might be a little too high. Yeah, it's probably we're probably going to be a little more shadowy than I want, but we'll take a look. Oh no, that's not terrible. Okay, it's too close to her forehead, and I can tell that because the fall off it's too dramatic. So we'll have her step back a little bit. There you go. We want the light to fall kind of in front of her because we're going to kick some back up with the reflector. Notice how I have the sandbag on here. $25 sandbag. Good. All right, so now we're getting more of what I call a butterfly light. I call it, like I made it up. I made that up. Butterfly light across the face. We can see that this creates a nice even look. If we want, and oftentimes you see for more like beauty style shots, you bring this reflector card back in If we're learning anything from this today, it's that you need one of these pieces of foam board. Nothing else here is needed except for the foam board. Okay, and depending on the distance, we can get a little bit of fill, right? A little bit of fill, or we can bring it really in close and get a lot of fill. So I'll bring it up. I'm looking through the back of the camera. I'm gonna bring it up until it's in the shot, and I'll drop it back down. Tilt it like that, boom. And there we go. Filled in, nice and soft. You know, again, shadow is still there. We want the shadow, we just want it to be filled in. The other thing you can do with this, if you're doing more of a beauty type shot, is you can have her with her chin slightly up. Yep. You know, because beauty models always have their chin right there, all snobby. They're like, look how snobby I am. Boom. Perfect. That's exactly it. That is the cover of some...
Snob magazine.
Yeah, Snob magazine. That's the local magazine of...
You know you subscribe.
Yeah. It's like, subscribe to Snob. Now, if we want to be glamorous, I like to use the word glamorous. We could use a silver reflector. I didn't get one because I never take everything out that I need. Because then it wouldn't be a surprise, right? We're bringing out the glamour. This is a perfect, look at this, okay, we're bringing that out later. We're gonna screw up the shoot with that. This is beat. There we go. Why do you say I did it?
You're the only one breaking up my reflectors, man.
Those aren't my fingerprints. There's fingerprints here. We will check those out. We're gonna bring them. I'm guessing it's Brett. Brett? I always blame Brett. Brett's our studio mate. All right. This could be terrible.
No, it couldn't.
Silver reflectors are always tricky, just like rocking a rhyme.
It's tricky.
Oh, interesting. That did nothing.
You gotta hold the light from where you.
Yeah.
It's not catching.
Oh yeah, step back a little bit. There we go. There we go. The silver needs a lot of, there we go, yeah, hit there. There we go. Now we got the silver. Boom, now we've got this like, I should probably focus it though before I do that. It's usually good to look through the camera. Not always.
No, camera should do everything for you. What are you kidding?
Okay, there we go. Right, now we've got classic glamour. This probably should be a vertical shot, but again, too lazy. We can move a little closer, I guess, too. Hold on, let's get this one as a good one, because Marissa might want this shot for her Instagram. You can follow Marissa on Marissa Roper. Marissa.Roper. Don't follow just straight Marissa Roper. She's only got like 3 followers. You'll know Marissa.Roper.
Last ex-witness.
Wow. Wow. I got a little too close there. All right, so. It's Marissa X Roper.
Yeah, it's Marissa.
She wishes she was.
Okay, there we go. So now we've got the silver reflector, got a little glamour. Now, just because I like you guys, Seth made these tirelessly on the balcony. Right. This one's bronze, and this one is gold. What would you like, bronze or gold?
Gold.
Okay.
Bronze is like a warm chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, we have bronze already, but.
Well, now it's too late.
You can only get one shot.
You get one or the other. What happened? You moved forward again.
Did I? Oops.
Well, you can see it on her chin.
Yeah, okay, it's there. Are sometimes tricky because they kind of more, the light is more specular, right? When you hit a white reflector, the light just kind of goes whoosh. But these really throw it, so they've really got to be in the right spot.
They're directional.
Yeah, directional is the word.
They're definitely a harder bounce.
I'm going to put the modeling light on so I can see it better.
Oh, yeah, this.
I think you gotta hold it flatter, honestly.
Really? Okay. Okay. Oop. There we go. Modeling light helped.
You might lose the stream.
Oh, we're going to lose the stream.
YouTube's not receiving a video.
YouTube is not receiving the video. So if you're missing the stream right now, guys, I apologize. We'll just keep going and pretend like nothing happened.
I'm getting errors all over.
Oh, all kinds of errors. Hopefully we're still streaming. We'll just keep going. In between things, we'll just change the light source. So when they come back, they'll be like, it's like they missed an entire episode.
Magic.
We'll pretend like nothing happened. All right, so I'm gonna turn the model net off to save battery. Let's move on to harder light sources. Yeah, no, harder light sources. I know, it's controversial. This is controversial at this point.
We don't play by the rules.
No, we don't. Since we're already in the classic beauty position, I'm gonna switch to a beauty
Okay, so
dish.
you might be on and off.
We might be on and off, guys. If YouTube's acting goofy, you can try to refresh maybe. We're having some issues here. I'm just gonna keep on going. It could be any number of things. Could be the internet, could be the interwebs, could be the World Wide Web. Karma. Could be instant karma. It could be slow brew karma. All right. They did say that instant karma was going to get me, but
Okay, so I'm thinking the video is pausing, but they are getting audio.
okay, the video is pausing, but you're getting audio, which is awesome. I'll try to move like Max Headroom. Do you remember Max Headroom? Probably not. Marissa's too young for that. He was like a
They hacked the TV station,
right,
and it's like a weird mask.
right. But wasn't it supposed to be a commercial for Pepsi or something originally?
No.
I don't remember what it was, to be
It's
honest.
just like a person hat. That's cool.
Yeah,
I mean, that's creepy.
yeah. But he's like Max Headroom. Yeah, yeah. Nobody was nice.
You should be okay.
Okay, we should be okay. So I've now switched to the classic beauty dish because beauty dishes are quite expensive, and so if I don't use it every single session, I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth. Even though this one I've had for 1,000 years, there's a bigger dent in it. All right, beauty dish is now hard or soft, right? Compared to the Octagon, which was a decent Chuck Norris movie. It's more hard, right? Because it's smaller compared to the.
I did not see that reference.
Who knew that was coming from there? Compared to the small softbox, it's a little bit softer because it's bigger, right? But generally speaking, beauty dishes are relatively hard sources. This one's silver. There's gonna be punchy. I've got a grid on there because I'm a baller. What the grid's gonna do is keep the light more kind of controlled, the spread of it, to only 25 degrees. And again, I'm in TTL, so let's just see what we get with the beauty dish. There we go, perfect. You gotta do the chin up beauty portrait look. Boom, there we go. That's a beauty dish shot. Now, what we'll notice here is if we wanted to, even if we wanted to, it'd be hard to use a reflector here. So we gotta be careful about placement of her face. Right, we can do these kind of shots here. She's like, oh, I'm Marissa. Oh, you know what, I'm gonna go vertical. This feels very cover. I know, we don't usually go vertical, but for you guys at home, I feel like this is something I would do. I mean, I'll go like 90s and I'll get my 200mm lens out.
Instead of doing a haul.
What's that?
Yeah, you
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna bring this down. Good. Boom, perfect. All right. Now this is Marissa looking down at me like, Now, if I wanted to get, now it's too low, which I'm not a huge fan of. In order to get the similar kind of feel, I'm gonna actually back up, believe it or not. Then, it won't feel, yeah, there's a grid on there. It won't feel as imposing, right? And of course I can also raise it. You know, I think I'm a horizontal guy. I waited my whole life for the World Wide Web. So, oh, this is kind of cool. If you want to be like artistic, you can get the beauty dish in the shot, like that.
Ooh.
See that? It's like part of her head's cut off. It's like we're on set here, right? We're so edgy. Watch this. Boom. That's right. That's the kind of stuff we do around here. Okay, let's go back to being serious now.
Well, I dragged the shutter for the whole set.
I could drag the shutter, but I'm not allowed to. I'm contractually obligated not to drag the shutter every single time, or else Seth gets mad.
Ouch.
Well, what happens is he'll come in here and do it right, and then I'll look bad. We don't want to look bad. All right, so there we go. Okay, so now we've got beauty dish, right? Beauty dish, butterfly, grid, right? It falls off quickly, and we can actually see there's almost a little bit of a halo behind her. Halo.
Hello.
Okay, that is a song. I thought I was made it up for a second. I was like, hold on, that is a song, right? Okay.
Oh, I don't think you guys know what you're saying.
Oh. It's a song, just not that one.
There is a song called Halo.
There's also a movie coming out called Halo, which is based on a video game.
No,
It's a series coming out based on a video game. So there you go. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, check that out on whatever platform it's on. Might be. The rule for any of that kind of stuff is that if it looks really awesome, it's on whatever platform I'm not paying for that month.
What would you use if you wanted to put a spotlight on the model?
What would I use if I wanted to put a spotlight on the model? What exactly do you mean by a spotlight? I'd probably use like some kind of a spotlight, like maybe a dado. The thing is, if you want to do a small source of light on the model, there are focusable attachments like Fresnel heads for strobes. You could use a snoot, but I do not use snoots. I am 100% anti-snoot.
Wow. So
Yeah, I know. But you could also use a smaller grid, right? You could use a, here, look at you guys. Just because you're asking, I'm going to bust out this over here in this case. You know, Daniel aims to please. All right. Did you know I had this over here, Marissa? This is a grid set. This is the Profoto Grid Set, I guess. It's not named except for it says Profoto Grid Set. It's also, oh, it's the grid and gel something or other. So what this does is it goes on the front of my light, and it's going to allow me to use a very small grid, like let's say this 10 degree. Your Profoto light, or this one anyways, the B10, has like 170 degree spread, which means the light by itself. No, it's not a spotlight. No, spotlight is very specific. I always think of a spotlight being a focusable light, and if you want to focus something, you're going to need like a Fresnel or something. Right, exactly. So you slide that on there, and then throw the thing. I think you have to loosen it first. Yeah, flip that up. There you go. Now slide it on and then tighten it down. Bam. Okay. So now I'm going to turn the modeling light on. And Marissa will get into the light. Oh, that's cool. Nope, not that much. You're too close to me, though. Back. Right there is good. Oh, actually, you know what? You can come. Ooh, there we go. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's so wild. It's flickering because of the LED.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so she's looking at that. I'm going to take a picture. I'm in TTL, so hopefully, oh, right when she closed her eyes, I took a picture. Oh, no. I didn't frame it up right because I was just trying to. Ooh. So here we've got a tight, it's not focused, it's controlled light source on her. So it's not really a spotlight, but probably for people, depending on what you're trying to do, if you're just trying to pop her out of the shot, this could work. Let's see. Bring your chin down just a bit, or just kind of lower yourself, like bend your knees slightly. Not that much. Right there. Good. There we go. So if you wanted to have just like a pop of light on her, you could do that, right? That would work. Not really a spotlight, but it works. The other thing we could do is come forward. More. Let come out of the light. Good. We can also put it on the background. Boom. Now we have a spotlight on the background. But because this is a single light demo, that's probably not the shot you want to do. But it's possible.
Unless she's an informant.
Unless she's an informant, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's lots of things that we could do here. It's so weird. It's like trippy. So yeah, I mean, if you want to get like kind of you see how you can see it cut off on her shirt? I'm trying to like show you what it's doing. Ugh. The reason why my light is set at 5,000K is because Seth told me to do it. See, you did. And I find it to look better than 5,600.
It's also because modifiers tend to warm up your
Yes,
light.
that's true. Modifiers tend to warm up your light. But yes, when I got the Nikon, so my exposure is a bit hot here. When I got the Nikon, I asked Seth because he's been using Nikon a lot longer than I have. And he said, I tend to set it at 5,000. And I tried that, and sure enough, it looks great. Also, remember I'm in RAW. So if I were to shoot and it didn't work out that way, like let's say I looked at this and I was like, that looks too cold, I could always bring it up. So there you go, hard light source, punchy, a little, if you're using a hard light like this, you almost always want to overexpose a little bit, because if you do not, what's going to happen is you'll bring out and Marissa loves this part, you're going to bring out all the texture in somebody's skin. Yeah, and typically that's not what we want, right? Yeah, so we want it actually to tend to be a little overexposed. That's a very classic, like 1980s shoot film, then overprocess it a little bit, so you get that blow out the skin tone. That's what we want. Yeah. Okay, that was the spotlight-ish. Oops. Weirdly, that was with the spotlight. All right, so, yeah, we're trying, thank you. But more kind of interesting to me anyways, or more, I think, useful for general purpose, making a single light portrait would be also a punchy hard light, but not a spotlight, which is the Magnum Reflector. So this reflector, Magnum Reflector, has a mustache, like Magnum PI. So, yeah. This is it kind of amplifies the light a little bit because of all these mirrors inside. And this thing just is punchy, okay? This, to me, as far as Profoto line is concerned, is the closest thing to kind of like the hard daylight feel. So if I was shooting a look and I wanted it to look like the sun was ripping through the window or something like that, this is the thing I would use. I also often use it for beauty because, as we've probably learned, if you watched enough of my videos, beauty light is typically is hard light. I know that a lot of times people are shooting, they go, I'm gonna shoot beauty, and they break out the softbox, but beauty light, you know, as in fashion beauty light is generally hard light. Okay. We're gonna slide this on. Now, this may be the question, right? A lot of you guys out there have Profoto lights, or you've seen them before, and you probably looked at these numbers on the side, and you were like, is this like the level of photographer I am? Like when I become like a better photographer, I can put it at a different number? But no, this is actually corresponds to the hard reflectors. So if we look at the Magnum, I'm not gonna bring it up to the thing, but it can spread the light wider or more narrow based on where we have the light on the head. If you don't know where you want it, typically you wanna move it as far forward until the flat part of the light is touching the front. So let's see if I can turn this towards the camera so you guys can see. So if you've never used this before, putting this flush is generally a good place to start. Okay, how I have it there. I don't know if I turn the model light, it'll probably blow it out, right? You won't be able to see that. But you can zoom it in and out and it will change the focus of the light. The focus of the light, that's important. The word focus is often used wrong. That's why I want to bring it up. It's used wrong more often than the word ISO. Right. This is a focus, because when you focus the light, you amplify the amount of light, which is what this does. A grid does not focus the light, it changes the beam angle, is a good way to say it. All right, so let's start with more of a beauty setup, because we're already here. I'm gonna do like a non-traditional beauty setup, because I'm too lazy to slide the light back. No, I'm just gonna have her look towards the light. So when you're doing a butterfly light, and I say that you wanna center it on the model, you know, oftentimes when we're doing that, the model's looking towards the camera. But it's a butterfly light if it's centered on the model, so if she's, you know, looking this way, this is the butterfly light, not this. This would be Rembrandt or something. What? Yes, overused. All right, we're gonna center it more or less. I'm gonna go back to TTL. We'll take a shot. Nice, okay. Punchy, punchy, punchy light. Boom. That's how that light works, right? It shows texture, it shows shape, it shows detail. Detail? Wow. It shows detail. It's showing the detail. I'm picking up weird accents.
Yeah.
It's suddenly I'm from Long Island. I don't know how it happened. It's from the island.
Cool Boston accent.
Oh yeah. I'm showing my roots. All right, so. Marissa's making fun of me again. So I have to lock her into a bad photo. Okay. That's what happens. If you make fun of me, I can take a bad photo. All right, so we can do this punchy light, but if we want to create something in like more like sunlight, go back to the paper for me. There we go. And what we can do is leave this further away, right? Let's work with the shadow. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna make this easier for myself because I don't want to. Okay. By the way, that was an advanced technique you just saw there. It was so advanced you didn't even notice it. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna take this guy. By the way, we've been shooting around like the light goes from 1, right? 2. It goes from 2 to 10. We've been shooting around like 4.5 the whole time. The Magnum at the same spot, 2.2. It is powerful because it is magic. So if I take this and I go, yeah, well, here's Marissa, she's standing out there by a wall, because clearly all walls are focus gray. All right.
Just want me to face the light?
Yeah, well, for now, turn the modeling light on so we can see it. Let's kill this.
You might put a model light slide or something.
The modeling light is not on set on full. I need to put it on full.
Yeah, because it's like a dead.
I don't know who was, I don't know who was using this light before me. Brett.
Brett, escape coach.
There we go. Free. Because I'm free. There it is. Now, the modeling light is shining upon Marissa. We can see this hard shadow on the background. She's out at the beach at the end of the day. She's like, I'm at the beach with my red dress on for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
And boom. Right? And we can create this really punchy, hard light. Right? Imagine Marissa, you know, at the beach.
Yep, this is me.
That's her at the beach. If you ever saw Marissa Beach, this is pretty much it, except she would have swimmies on.
Because I'm too pale.
Right.
I think I'm sunburned, so I had to return.
Exactly. Except she has that white, what do you call that? Something you put on your nose so you don't get a bug.
That little thing.
And then she has a swim. So this is punchy, hard light, right? So if we're looking for a certain vibe, and we can back her away, like back off, come off the wall a little bit, right? And we can control. Remember, your shadow is always going to fall. I'll put it just at the edge of the shot because, you know, cool people use shadows. And also I do. Right? And we can create shape. Now remember, because it's so punchy, like when it's small like that, 30% of you right now are going, that's overexposed, Daniel. But you'll see when I bring it in that there's nice, crisp detail in her skin. We can see her Harry Potter scar up here.
Oh, no.
Yep. And she has almost a little triangle of light right there. What could they call that? We need a name for
Who's
that.
that painter? What's his name?
I don't know.
Monet.
Who is that guy? Okay. Don't look at it, but look towards the light. Yeah, there we go. She's out there like pretend like you're at the beach. You're like, yeah, whatever people do at the beach.
Yeah.
Clearly, I don't go to the beach a lot, but we can see this.
Sunburn.
So on the right person, this kind of light can be very effective because it's punchy and hard. This is not going to be for everyone, that's for sure. But what we can do, we need something, a bonus. You know, it must be that time again. Come forward a little bit.
Daniel time.
All right. So you've probably never seen this before. I'm going to shine this right into the lens. Well, I just broke the internet with this. I'm going to try something never tried before.
Cool, it's just huge.
Is there a lens flare?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just look, turn this way towards the light. Okay. So now, of course, we could just leave it like this, but this is not my plan. I have a more elaborate plan than this. But let's just start here. Ooh, bright. Okay. So we've got this, which is kind of interesting. It's a little on the bright side. Now, if we go here, this bronze is going to work. Again, never tested. I don't test these things ahead of time. Because in life, oh, not much, huh?
Kicked over there.
A little bit, yeah. It needs to be closer, I guess. All right, so we need to, I'm going to put it on the stand. Yeah. Well, what I was going to do is I'm going to do a little feather action.
Oh, just go right into the reflector.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if I can do it from the same side. Come over here. Yeah, like that. There we go. That's hitting you, right? Yeah. All right. I probably should look at the camera while I do this. Okay. There we go. Better, but probably out of focus because I'm not. Oh, not bad. Okay. All right. Now that light's definitely too bright on you, so we're going to make an adjustment. We're in manual. We'll drop it down half a stop. I'm going to take this guy and I put him right here. All right. Okay. There we go. And we're getting this like weird bronzy coolness. Do I like the bronze?
It looks like a car light or something.
Yeah, it's too creepy. All right, let's go with gold.
It's got a little like Stranger Things going on.
Oh. All right, that's gold. Wow, gold looks clean, actually, interestingly enough.
It's good paint.
Yeah, it's good paint. That's not messing around here. Let's try white. It's always good to mess around with these things, guys. Things can be done really quickly. And again, I'm just over here doing my thing. Notice I don't need to look through the camera. Oh, white looks super cool, huh? Like actually cool.
Really cool tone white.
Right? Yeah. I kind of like that actually. All right, so let's go with white. I like this. Now let's adjust it. I'm going to put this on a stand.
That contrast is
Yeah. Because this is clearly already damaged, we can see that, right, Marissa? Seth's not going to mind if I put the...
I'm gonna hold it for you.
I mean, can you? I mean, you're working. All right.
What are you doing?
You're getting some pretty light onto her face. All right, let me... Thanks, Seth. I'm gonna lower the power a tiny bit. All right. Get some light on her. I'm also working the composition in a strange way by having her... there we go. Oh, that was nice. Wow, you're good at holding the reflector. Way better than I am. All right.
I made it.
He did make it. See how that's kicking in and showing just beautiful light across her face. It's got a cool tone to it.
Yeah, it's so
I love it. Now I wish, we need a mirror. I need a mirror. Have you got a mirror,
I
Marissa?
think there's a mirror in the makeup room.
Bring a mirror to me, quickly.
small.
Oh, yeah, I want to throw a light on the background. A mirror will give you 100%.
Dado,
No, I'm only allowed to use one light. There we go. Did you break something?
Dado,
Oh, yes, you're right. I should do that. All right, if this doesn't work. All right.
that's tiny.
It's too small, right? Yeah.
I'll get the
Yeah, okay. Stand by, people.
Oh boy, here we go, awkward pause.
This is what happens when we... Now, this is never before seen on TV. Nikki, I need you.
This is how you build a space. Feeding me up. Yeah, another function of these puzzles.
Over here. Don't drop on the cord, please. Come around. This is Nikki. Everybody clap. All right. All right, so this is basically a mirror. I'll show you. We're going to see that light right there. We're going to reflect the light and just barely touch Marissa like that.
Okay.
You see? Okay.
Do you want me to look at the mirror?
No, you're going to look just like you did before. Well, I guess if we're using these, I should give you the number 4, right?
Actually, that's hidden, it's not refused.
Okay, yeah, so you got to just not hit her with it. Okay.
Actually, you want to just turn it towards me?
The light?
Well, you just want to break the shadow, right?
I want to hit the background with it, yeah.
Yeah.
No, because see how she's light in the background? That
Right,
looks-
but turn her more to me,
Yeah, yeah, Marissa's turn. Yep, there you go.
and then that.
Yeah, you want to use this instead? This is number 4.
You're going to make an even light, basically, so.
It's too much, right? Okay, yeah, okay. I was, I broke out the good gear. For you guys, I broke out the good gear. All right, here we go.
You have to explain this, by the way.
All right, so I will explain this in a second. Okay, so here we go, guys. This is what's happening here. I'll let me move this. The light is coming from the back, creating a separation effectively to create some shape on Marissa, to get a little kind of organic light ripping across. And Seth came in with the white reflector to kind of fill in and make it look really nice. Like this, except he did it better, like this, I guess.
He's not sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is great, right? But I felt like the background was, oh, you know what it is? We need a little bit less white on her face here. This, if you can get that again, Seth, the first one, that was a little more in that range instead of this.
You too full?
Yeah, too full, okay. All right, Nikki, you're good. Just feather off a little bit more so it's just on the background.
I'm getting some of this.
Yeah, yeah, so come this way with it. Actually, you can move closer to Marissa, then you'll be less likely to hit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go, and then hit just the background, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry. Fear not, well, that's okay, the background looks good. All right, good.
You want?
Yeah, I'm ready. All right, here we go. I can't really see because I'm getting a flare, so I'm hoping for the best. All right, a little more.
You want more film?
Just a smidge more. And let me actually make sure it's in focus because I'm using eyeball focus, which is working amazingly, surprisingly, with all this backlight. There we go. All right, so here's what we got going on, guys. We got this light coming from behind, which is giving this shape to Marissa some mood, right? Some cinematic ecstasy. Then over here, Seth is using the nice custom-made white reflector with the cool tone. You guys can pick those up on wherever you buy reflectors from, Adorama. And then on the background, we're using, this is effectively a light light stream panel from Data Light. It's this one, the number 1 panel is effectively a mirror. So we're getting bounce back past her, creating this like squarish look on the wall, which kind of makes it feel like there's some kind of window back there that's giving her the light, thus creating kind of a scene.
You could also use aluminum foil if you don't have, I don't know, a professional grade reflecting mirror.
Well, the mirror, I would use a mirror. If you could use, I mean, yes, that would. Yeah. This is basically 100% reflected, which means that in order to really match this, you need a mirror. So you could use like an inexpensive mirror. It just won't be as beautiful, and you won't be able to mount it to a light stand, which this one you can. Of course.
Matte, that's the thing. It's got a matte to it.
Yeah, this is. But in order to, basically the idea here is this. I'm using the light that I have. Thank you, Nikki. I'm using the light that I have to work into a shot. Just because something's a one light shot doesn't mean it's just a softbox up front like some person might have started the demo with, right? It can be something more intense, more deep. You're not limited just because you have one light. You can use reflectors, you can use mirrors, you can use the world to kind of shape it and make it better. Yay. Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
I don't know.
Thanks. Thank you, Seth. Oh, I'll turn the light back on. Oh, thank you. So, I have makeup on me. Uh-oh.
Making funny.
Oh, making fun of me. Well, that's probably true. If you can't laugh at yourself, I don't know. That's a sad world to be in. This one's also kind of good where she was looking down with no reflector, so that also works. So really what made the shot awesome was Nikki. Yeah, well done. If there's no questions. I'm actually back next week because of a schedule change. So I'm doing different accents. That's like a British, right? For all my friends in the UK, put it on your schedule. Next week, the 7th of April, macro photography. Be there, be square. Any questions? Okay. If you don't already, check out the podcast, A Voice, all one word with Daniel Norton. There's a link in the chat. Check out Marissa.Roper. Seth is Last Ex-Witness everywhere you go. Make sure you subscribe to Adorama, ring the bell so you get notifications. I'll be back next week, and I think the week after that is Gavin Hoey. You can see that stuff on the YouTube channel. Follow us, and we'll see you then. I winked. Did you like that?